Hi, and welcome to Wrong Way. And it really seems like Begode has come up with some new and exciting learner wheels. The Begode A1 for just $200 and the Begode Future for just about $300. But are they any good? Where did they cut some corners? Well, let me tell you more about it.
Wrong way.
And first up, also huge thanks to Begode themselves for sending me those wheels for testing purposes, and so I can show them to you in this video. If you want to buy any of those wheels, there's a coupon code called WRONGWAY A1 for the A1, so WRONGWAY_A1, and for the Future, the same, just WRONGWAY_Future. So huge thanks to Begode for that. Now look, I'm always super excited when companies come out with new wheels that don't have suspension, that are a bit more affordable, and that are just new, because it seems like a lot of the companies that make EUCs just focus on the suspension electric unicycles and their expensive market. But hey, people want to also just learn on wheels and have something solid to train on. And even though Kingsong and Emotion started to make some newer, smaller wheels, most of the time they're just reiterations of their older wheels. But Emotion seems to work on that quite a bit with their new V6. They should have a new model, and of course there's also the learner wheel, the E20. With that said, I still think that Begode is still working a lot on their smaller wheels and might be the company that does the most of work to develop new, smaller and interesting products. Now, Begode does not have the best track record for reliability and durability of their products. Well, with their M10.5, I had a random cutoff. The wheel just turned off at 20 kilometers an hour. Swapped the motherboard later and, found out what the issue was, a loose axle, but I don't have the best experience with those wheels. Let me know in the comments if you had. With that said, those wheels do seem pretty interesting to me, so I wanted to give them a chance. And for now, it's been fine. Now, I definitely think that those wheels are learner wheels because they lack one key function that makes electric unicycles overpowered, and that is the trolley handle. So if you want to go inside and push those wheels around, you can't basically. You either have to lean down and push with this handle on the top on this wheel or on this wheel, or you need to just ride on it. I don't know if there's any accessories yet available to have a trolley handle on those wheels, but this is a key feature that was missing, at least in the units that I got. So I think this is enough for learning, and of course keeps the price down. But if you want to go around the city and do stuff, you will miss this trolley handle a lot. So for a commuter EUC plus learner EUC, I think this is a big drawback of those two. And how did I get here? I just rode a wheel on a wheel. Very simple. Now this will be a quick initial review of those wheels. I tested them already a fair bit. I also gave them to some of my friends to learn how to ride on them, and I have already some thoughts, but maybe I'll make a follow-up video after I make a range test on both of them and have them for a longer time. I have a clear preference between those two, and I'm curious if you already get a hunch about what it is. So let me know in the comments, what do you think? Which is the better of those two, in my opinion? So let's start with the Begode Future, and the thing that I really like about it is this. This is not metal. This is like some sort of foam, if you can see it on camera. This is all foam. So if this wheel falls, you won't break it. It's just sort of like a big teddy bear, just flops around, and probably you won't break it. Even here on the kickstand, around the kickstand, all of this is just foam. And behind this foam there is a thin layer of PVC or some sort of plexi. Compared to that on the A1, this is mostly metal. You can see some scratches here. This took already a fair amount of tumbles, but it still works pretty well. When it comes to the structural rigidity, actually this wheel is a bit weaker than this one. I'm surprised because when I ride on one leg on this one, I hear the tire scratching against the inner shell. Meaning that the shell bends if I ride on one leg. And on this one, I don't have the issue, even though, look here, the tire is very close to the shell, almost the same distance. The Begode Future comes with a set of twin lights in the front. They're not angle adjustable. Now when it comes to the light on the A1, it's a bigger module. I think it looks cooler. And it's not the most strong light. You can actually see the lenses here from the inside. I mean, the diodes. Not angle adjustable. It'll do the job. Not too bright, not blinding. We have a very, very small charger for both of these wheels. On the Future, It will take like 6 hours, I think, to charge it up to full. It's a 42-volt wheel, and it has a 400 watt-hour battery, meaning the range will be anywhere between like 20 to 25 kilometers. A lot more of a usable range than compared to the Begode A1 charger up front here. This has just 70 watt hours. This is about a range of 10 to 15 kilometers, and then a 3 to 4 hour charge time. Now, both on the Future and on the A1, we have a set of taillights. Both of them are pretty solid, but this matrix on the A1 I actually like a lot more. This sort of disco light. They also come with kickstands. Actually, once I put those wheels on a more stable surface, the A1 seems to be the one that has the better kickstand. The more you know. I also wish that those handles had some sort of lift switch like the King Songs and the Emotion wheels.
Oh, you turned me on.
So here you can see the button is on the bottom. So if I want to lift it up, I deactivate the motor. It won't spin. Here you need to press the button, and I see a lot of people just wanting to lift up the wheel, but what happens then is the wheel starts spinning. So we don't want that to happen. The kill switches on Emotion and King Songs are just better than what we have on those Begode wheels, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to the handle up top, this one is very, very annoying. It has holes here on the bottom, meaning that if you lift it up, I need to push the button, and then you keep holding it up, it will become very, very uncomfortable. You can see the ridges here in my hand, not really comfortable to lift up. I guess they made the holes to make the handle lighter, but very not ergonomic. The handle on the A1 is a lot better, but still no, like, you know, amazing performance. But, you know, this one you can actually use, and it's doable. This will hurt you in the long run. Now, the pedals are the same on both wheels, milled-in studs. I mean, for this price, you don't expect more. Those are solid. They are also angle adjustable, meaning that you can have them like this, or even more flat. Really nice to see on a sort of affordable kind of wheel. And you can see here as well on the A1, those are the screws for, I guess, the L hangers on the side, so it's very easy to drop the motor here on this wheel. On this wheel you need to take off the pads. And here we have the beeper, by the way. I don't know where the beeper is on this one, probably somewhere below the wheel. Now, when it comes to mud guards, one thing I hate about the Begode Future, this hole. Like, why do you still keep making this, Begode? Like, if you drench your tire in a puddle and then this just splashes water onto your leg, I mean, it's terrible design. Even though if you have a mud guard here, this water will go from here onto your leg. I was riding in mild rain and I didn't have an issue at lower speeds, but come on, Begode, what is this? On the A1 it's a bit better, just a small hole here. In some sort of rainy rides, I guess this will perform better, but either way, I don't know how good the IP rating is here. I don't know how it looks from the inside. I guess that's something I would need to find out when disassembling those wheels. Let me know in the comments if you had any rain issues, water ingress issues with those wheels. Now, a thing I really miss on those wheels is the lack of a battery indicator. Now, I would prefer to have at least a battery indicator on those wheels in order not to need to take the app out and then check the battery state there. Like, I can live without the speedometer, but please at least give me a battery indicator. This is something I really miss on those wheels. Both wheels come with side pads. The A1 has very basic pads and I do like them. I don't think you need anything more with those wheels. Future has a little bit more side pad action here. I actually would probably prefer to have it just flat. I don't really need pads for such a low speed wheel, but that's what we get here. The foam here could be a little bit more soft. All right, but now we get to the part where I'll tell you which wheel I prefer a lot more than the other. And spoilers, it is the A1. It is the cheaper of the two. And when I was giving the A1 for people to learn on, I mean, they could handle it pretty quickly, but with the Future, it usually was too heavy for them, and they had an issue of how to keep their balance, and they had a difficulty learning on that wheel. And for a learner wheel, that's not a good thing, right? And let me tell you why. The thing is that the A1 is a lot better for learning because it's, number one, narrower. So when you stand on the wheel, it won't like shift its weight very far to its side because all of the center of mass is very much concentrated in the middle. The pedals are very low to the ground and they're close to the center of the wheel, and the tire is not as wide as, for example, on the Future. Now, the Future is a chunker. It's very wide, and if you stand, well, I move it a bit to the side, you can see like how far your leg actually is from the center of the wheel. The tire is a lot wider, and I think actually that the tire is too wide on this wheel. Like, it doesn't need to be as wide as it is. And when you look at the whole profile of the wheel, it's wider, the pedals are higher, and therefore you will not keep the balance as well as, for example, on the A1. So you can see here the A1 is really small and it keeps the balance nicely. Like, I can really control it well. I can start riding on it and it works. Keeps the balance really well. Check this out, I make walk the dog and it just stands in place. Even though I didn't really start that trick all that nicely. You still have all of the benefits of the app. You have very little power, but it is enough power to learn how to ride on an electric unicycle. You can learn how to ride backwards, move around a bit, and with the lighter weight, it will be a lot easier to shove into a car trunk. And again, on one leg, no problem. Although there is some scratches, some clicks maybe, but nothing too bad actually. Now on the Begode Future, I can feel actually the foam digging into my shin or the side of my shin calf a lot more. And this wheel, like, it's not as stable. It doesn't feel as stable as the Begode A1. It's a lot heavier and you can feel it. When you start to ride, you know, your feet are a lot higher off the ground and it's a bit more difficult to catch the balance on this wheel. Might be also the fault of the tire. Now, once you start turning, feels really nice when turning, and it has more torque than the A1, but it has this weird gruntle sound once you go over like 20 kilometers an hour, like this. Take a listen. Sounds a bit broken, if you ask me. Now, with this wheel, of course, you can go faster, and you have a little bit more of a power limit, and you can just generally use this more as a, you know, point A to B wheel to get around the city, but it doesn't have a trolley handle. I guess the best thing about it, once again, is just that you can just leave it and it just won't break because of the foam. Fancy stand-up. Can I like make it stand up like that? I can. I'm very cool. Let's do a walk the dog test. And it's already leans to the side. But yeah, if you try to do some tricks, like this foamy bit is really awesome. Shove it and stuff. I would probably in the long run just get rid of the pads here because they're just annoying and additional weight. Maybe that's something that will happen in the next video. I mean, it's a totally different game here with those wheels. This wheel just rides on its own. When I do the trick like walk the dog, then it just rides and balances on its own, and this one will move to the side. So yeah, the A1 is a lot more stable and easier to learn on, in my opinion at least. The wheel is also a lot weaker and it will beep sooner, and even on just a training session you might run out of battery. It's just 180 watt hours, but I think that the 180 watt hours and the distance you'll make in a time will result in a better learning experience compared to the Future. The Future is also a lot heavier, 17 kilograms compared to, I don't know, 12, 13 on the A1. So it is too heavy to be a commuter wheel and doesn't have a trolley handle. And at the same time, it's even heavier than the Kingsong 14D, the Emotion E20, even the older V5 or a V8. And at the same time, it doesn't have the same functionality as those wheels. So while this for $200, I can say, okay, you can get it, you can learn how to ride on it, you can keep it to, you know, teach your friends, to have fun on it. It's a great wheel for tricks too, learning how to ride backwards. And the Future is somewhere in between. I don't really understand like the main sort of use case for it, because again, heavy, not a lot of performance. I guess the great thing about it is this sort of foam structure of it, and the tire, I mean, it is cool for, you know, turning and having fun on the wheel, but it doesn't have the balance. It is too wide, and it is not nice to do tricks on it as you, for example, can do tricks on the Begode A1. But with all of that said, I have to say, Begode, for that price, I mean, are you still making any money off of it, or are you just selling wheels in order for people to learn how to ride on a wheel and then buy a different Begode wheel? I know, because I mean, 300 bucks for this, 200 bucks for this, I mean, you are really giving customers a low price to start to learn how to ride on a unicycle. And especially the Begode A1, I feel like is a pretty solid choice actually, if you want to learn how to ride on a wheel. Now, I don't know about the long-term issues. This is always something that we find out later, and you know, Begode doesn't have the best track record about it, but I'm really surprised with this one. This one is a lot of fun, but on the bike path, you know, you won't go really fast. It's just for learning, really, not for going from A to B. Maybe for a child you can learn on it and use it, but you know, it's not a commuter wheel. Now, the future is somewhere in between. I don't really know what the purpose of it is. It looks pretty cool. I love the foam structure, but with some minor tweaks, I think it could be a lot better. If the pedals would be lower, it would become a lot more stable to ride on it. If they could somehow make it lighter, that would help a lot too. And honestly, I don't think that such a wide tire is really that necessary for a learner wheel. It could be a lot more narrower, bring the sort of form factor down. At $300, it's, you know, kind of tempting to get it for a new wheel and somewhat, I guess, robust structure, but not the most. But with that said, if you're looking for something to commute with, to, you know, go grocery shopping, to do some tasks, errands with, I still think that spending a bit more and buying a VA or buying a Kingsong 14D 16S might be the better choice, even though those wheels don't have the strongest axles. But maybe there's some upgrades in that department of those wheels as well. So let me know what you think about those wheels. Let me know about this format. Just a first quick look on some new exciting products in the electric unicycle market. And if you're still here, leave a like on the video, subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.